Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Scientific Biography. Today, we're going to be talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Bill Nye, the science guy. Now, you may not think of Bill Nye as an actual scientist, but he is someone who has impacted young people's lives and gotten them to think about science in a way that a lot of other scientists have failed to do. Not only that, but he has a degree in mechanical engineering and he's done a lot of really cool stuff. So I would consider him a scientist. If anything, he's at least a science proliferator. So he counts. Let's learn a little bit about Bill Nye. So who is he? Bill Nye, like I said, is a mechanical engineer and a science communicator from the United States. He hosted the shows Bill Nye the Science Guy in the 90s and Bill Nye Saves the World in the late 2010s. And Nye, there you go, first typo of the video, received his BS from Cornell University before he worked for Boeing in Seattle. And he invented the hydraulic resonance suppressor tube, which is used in 747. So the reason we have 747 planes is because he was able to build and make this tube. So a pretty cool thing that he did there. As Bill Nye the Science Guy, that really happened, his show from 1993 to 1998, and it was a national hit amongst kids and adults. It ended up winning 19 Emmys, including the Outstanding Performer in Children Programming, which is a pretty solid one to get. And it taught all different types of science in a kid-friendly way, and it really encouraged kids to be scientific-minded and to investigate their surroundings and use science in their everyday life. And it proclaimed that science rules, which it does. So accurate, excellent job there, Bill Nye. Okay. He returned in the late 2010s in Bill Nye Saves the World. And in this return to science education for TV, Nye kind of directly tried to refute myths and anti-scientific claims, right? Because that has been on the rise in the last 20 years. The goal of the show, at least in my opinion, was twofold. The first one, right, is to educate young people about the current issues facing the world. Well, interrupted. The goal of the show, at least in my opinion, was twofold. The first being to educate young people about the current issues facing the world. And then, of course, the second one is to remind young adults what his original message had been, which was, to think critically, believe in science, use the scientific method. And then, of course, kind of let us know how disappointed he is that a lot of us had forgotten that message and strayed from it. The show tackled all sorts of things like climate change, alternative medicine, artificial intelligence, vaccines, dieting, sex, marijuana, and much more. Lots of things going on in the show. He also does all sorts of other science advocacy work, even when he's not on TV, right? He's the CEO of the Planetary Society, which is a society that advocates for science knowledge and helps with space exploration. He's written 2 books, one about evolution and one about harnessing science to change the world. Both of them are bestsellers. And he's a member of the Advisory Council for the National Center for Science Education. So he's still very much involved in making sure that kids are being educated in science. So that's pretty important. And then, of course, he's really ramped up his efforts to fight climate change. And so as this climate change has become more and more ignored by the people in power, Nye has kind of increased his tone and his rhetoric about solving the crisis. And here's a quote from him on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver in 2019. As you can see, it's got lots of profanity in there, so I'm not going to say it, but you're going to get the idea here. It's a pretty solid quote. So thank you so much for subscribing or for watching. I hope you subscribe and you continue to come back and learn more from me on my channel. And remember, science rules. See you later.